My husband wrote his ex a very sweet email the day before our wedding. I'm not sure how to feel about it. We've been married for 14 months, but together for 7 years. Before me, he dated her for 4 years. They broke up because she wanted marriage and he didn't. That's what he told me anyway. I found his iPad under the nightstand yesterday morning around 6 a.m. He'd fallen asleep without logging out of Gmail. The email was still open on the screen, dated exactly 1 day before our wedding. I read it 3 times to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding. He wrote how it was finally hitting him that it was really over between them, how getting married made it real in a way their breakup 8 years ago never did, how he was sorry for being ready now and not back then when she begged him. He said seeing her with her 2 kids, ages 4 and 6, made him wonder constantly if they could have been his if he hadn't been so terrified of commitment. That, watching her at family gatherings with her husband, made him feel physically sick sometimes. He told her he was scared of the unknown with me, even though I made him happy, that he hoped she was happy too, that he was sorry he wasted her time. She never responded to the email. Here's what makes this unbearable. We see her constantly. She's his sister's best friend since high school. She's at every family dinner, every holiday party, every birthday celebration, every summer barbecue. She's married to some finance guy who works 80-hour weeks. She seems genuinely happy. Her kids call my husband uncle and climb all over him. I've been smiling at her across dining room tables for 7 years, making small talk about her kids' soccer games and piano recitals, complimenting her casserole dishes at potlucks, laughing at her jokes about motherhood, all while my husband was apparently mourning what could have been. Last Thanksgiving, I noticed he refilled her wine glass twice without her asking. I thought he was just being polite. At Christmas, he spent 20 minutes helping her 6-year-old build a Lego set while I talked to his parents. I thought he was being a good uncle. 3 weeks ago at his sister's birthday party, I caught him staring at her while she laughed at something her husband said. When I asked if he was okay, he said he had a headache and wanted to leave. We always leave family gatherings early. He always has a headache or feels tired or remembers something we need to do. I thought he just didn't like crowds. Yesterday was his sister's backyard barbecue. I watched him watch her play with her youngest daughter in the pool. The same look I'd seen at Christmas, the same look from that email. He was supposed to be grilling with his brother-in-law, but he just stood there holding the spatula, staring at her in her yellow sun hat and floral sundress, pushing her daughter on a pool float. When she looked over and waved at him, he snapped out of it and waved back. Then he immediately suggested we leave because traffic would be bad. It was 2 p.m. on a Sunday. I haven't said anything to him yet. I don't know what to say. Do I tell him I read the email? Do I pretend I don't know he's been in love with someone else our entire relationship? The worst part isn't even the email itself. It's that I finally understand our marriage now. Why he proposed after 6 years but seemed distracted during the entire engagement. Why he cried during our vows but wouldn't look at me. Why he never wants to talk about having kids even though we're both in our 30s. Why he's never fully present when we're with his family. He doesn't want to move on from her. He just wanted to not be alone. And I was convenient, younger, and didn't push him the way she did. I'm the backup plan he settled for because the woman he actually loved got tired of waiting. This morning he asked me what I wanted for our anniversary next month. I looked at him and realized I've been competing with a ghost for 7 years and I've been losing the entire time. Last night I went back and read the email again. There was one line I missed the first time. He wrote that marrying me felt like closing a door he'd always hoped would stay open. I'm that door. I'm the thing that made it final for him. We're supposed to go to his sister's house for dinner tomorrow night. She'll be there with her husband and the kids, like always. I don't think I can keep pretending anymore.
My ex-husband left me for another woman but wanted to come back to me after she was diagnosed with cancer. We divorced 2 years ago after he left me for his coworker. I was 28, working double shifts at an accounting firm to pay off his $47,000 student loans while he was, quote, building his career. Turns out he was building something else. The worst part, I found out from her. She sent me a Facebook message at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, apologizing because she had a suspicion he was married but was too nervous to ask. She seemed genuinely sorry. I actually felt bad for her. He moved out 3 days later without taking any of the furniture he insisted we buy. I spent 6 months in that empty apartment staring at a $2,000 couch he picked out. The lease was in my name. Everything was in my name because his credit was garbage from all those student loans I was paying. Eventually sold everything on Facebook Marketplace and moved to a smaller place across town. Started my own bookkeeping business from my bedroom. Stopped checking his social media after I saw their vacation photos to Hawaii. The same trip he said we couldn't afford when I suggested it for our anniversary. Met someone new who actually showed up when he said he would and didn't make me feel crazy for having emotions. Life was finally good. Better than good, actually. Then last week, my ex calls at midnight sobbing. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maybe curiosity, maybe stupidity. He's crying so hard, I can barely understand him. Says his girlfriend got a stage 3 diagnosis 4 months ago and he can't handle it anymore. Needs me because I, quote, always knew how to deal with hard things. I asked what the hell he meant by that. He said, remember when your mom died and you just kept going? You didn't fall apart. You handled everything. I need that energy right now because this is too much for me to carry. My mom died of a heart attack while we were married. I was 26 years old. I found her on her kitchen floor. I was working 60-hour weeks and planning her entire funeral alone because he said hospitals and funeral homes made him uncomfortable. He actually went to a work happy hour the night before her service because he needed to decompress from my, quote, negative energy. He kept talking like I hadn't said anything. Said he still loves me. Said his girlfriend she's changed since the diagnosis. She's angry all the time and won't let him help and he just wants things to feel normal again. Said therapy isn't working and her family blames him for not being supportive enough even though he's, quote, trying his best. Then he said it. The thing that made my entire body go cold. He said he'd leave her if I'd take him back. Said he can't watch someone die. Said it's not fair that he has to sacrifice his happiness and his future because she got sick. Said our divorce was a mistake and he realizes now that I was the strong one, the one who could handle real problems. I sat there in complete silence for a full minute just processing what I was hearing. He actually had the nerve to say, are you still there? I said, yeah, I'm here. I'm just thinking about something. He said, what are you thinking about? I said, I'm thinking about how you're the same person who told me I was was being dramatic when I cried at my mom's funeral. The same person who said I needed to get over it after 2 weeks because my grief was, quote, bringing down the mood at home. The same person who forgot our anniversary 3 years in a row but remembered to buy her flowers every single Friday. He went completely quiet. I said, you're right about one thing though. I do know how to deal with hard things. That's exactly why I survived being married to you. Then I hung up. He sent 47 texts in 20 minutes. I counted, mostly saying I was twisting his words, that he was just venting and I was being cruel during his vulnerable moment, that he thought I'd understand since we, quote, knew each other better than anyone else in the world. The last text said, please don't tell anyone about this conversation. She doesn't need to know. It would just hurt her, and she's going through enough. That's when I remembered something. I was still in her family's group chat from their engagement party 18 months ago. The party I attended before I knew they'd actually started seeing each other 6 months before our divorce was final. I forwarded every single text, every screenshot, the whole midnight conversation. Added one message. He called me at midnight asking to get back together. Thought you should know what he really thinks about her diagnosis. Her brother called me 20 minutes later. Didn't say much at first, just thank you. Then he said she's been asking if something was wrong because he's been distant lately. Now she knows why. My ex called 30 seconds after that screaming about how I ruined his life. I said no, you did that yourself. I just made sure she didn't waste any more of hers. Then I blocked him everywhere.